Welcome back to ESBR Boxing's YouTube channel. Delighted as always to be joined by Gregory Doll. This is the big fight breakdown. The big fight taking place at super lightweight in Manchester between Jack Catterall and Arnold Barboza for the WBO interim title. If you enjoy this video, please do subscribe to this channel if you haven't done so already. Greg, good to be joined by you. It's a busy February, isn't it? Got the best card ever on February 22nd. This fight we're about to talk about, Derek Chisora in his last UK fight the weekend before. Yeah, there's a lot going on, but it's good to be joined by you as always. First question I've got for you, Greg. Jack Catterall, he's maybe kind of, you could say, had a bit of a frustrating career. No one can deny he's a good fighter. Still not kind of actually won that world title. But possibly the best super lightweight in the world, maybe. Is this a 50-50 fight? It's Arnold Barboza Jr. Still undefeated himself, 31-0. But yeah, is this a 50-50 fight in your opinion?
Yeah, thanks, Elliot. It's a difficult fight. I'm not sure if it's 50-50. I think Jack Catterall he's proved himself now to be, one of the really main guys at 140. Arnold Barboza coming off that great win against Jose Ramirez, excuse me, probably the best one in his career. But for me, it's probably 60-40, 62-38 in Jack Catterall's favour. I think if he's not on it, Barboza could outbox him, but I do class Catterall as just a slight favourite in the fight.
Yeah, look, I think that you're painting a similar story to what the bookmakers odds are saying at the moment. Jack Catterall 4-11 to win the fight with the platform I'm looking at. Barboza 9-4 to win the fight. So yeah, this is on paper, this is not going to be a straightforward, easy win for Jack Catterall, but we will see what happens on the night, of course. This fight is for the WBO interim world title. The WBO full champion, whatever you want to call him, is Teofimo Lopez still. Teofimo Lopez was last out in June of last year against Steve Claggett. What I know it's a tricky question, but what do you see happening here, Greg? Teofimo Lopez, he's maybe quite an unpredictable fighter with what he's going to do next. There's periods of inactivity. Do you think Teofimo Lopez is going to keep hold of that title and then the winner of this fight will fight Teofimo Lopez possibly next? Do you think Teofimo Lopez is going to move up? Do you think Teofimo Lopez could kind of is going possibly going after other super fights maybe against fellow Americans? What do you think will happen in that 140-pound WBO landscape?
Yeah, it's a strange division at the moment, Elliot, isn't it? I mean, I never thought Teofimo Lopez would fight Josh Taylor. I always thought, and this isn't a discredit to Josh Taylor. You know how much I think that Josh Taylor should be more recognised for what he's done, but he was fighting guys like Lomachenko, and you just think he's always going to be that kind of guy who fights a big PBC fighter who goes on and he's a big pay-per-view star. I don't think Teofimo Lopez will fight Jack Catterall. No, I think he'll move up. Who he's going to fight, I don't know, Elliot, but I do see that belt becoming vacant, and I think you'll probably see Jack Catterall finally becoming world champion should he beat Barboza.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. I think I've heard murmurs about Teofimo Lopez wanting to move up and weight for whatever reason. I think Lopez as well. If you're Teofimo Lopez to fight Jack Catterall, you want to maybe be paid an amount that's not actually on the table as well. And I just think there's bigger paydays for Lopez out there as well. So yeah, I think that the question is if Jack Catterall wins this fight, will he be elevated to full champion or will he actually have to fight someone else for a vacant belt? I think that's maybe the bigger question here, but we will see. It has to get past Barboza first. Changing the topic slightly, Greg, I want to ask you, is Jack Catterall a future pay-per-view star in his early 30s now? And the reason I'm asking you is because we had this era in British boxing a few years ago with Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury, George Groves, Carl Froch, Kell Brook, Amir Khan, James DeGale, fighters who were in pay-per-view fights. Some of those fighters still around now. Chris Eubank Jr. being another one. I feel like Britain is lacking future pay-per-view stars. If I was to ask you next 2-3 years, how many pay-per-views are they going to be with stars with British fighters in that take place in Britain? I think it could be quite limited, but we'll see. Do you see him as being this star, this superstar that people are going to pay 20, 25 quid for to watch Jack Catterall fight. I won't say any more because I want to get your opinion.
Yeah, I think the game's changed, Elliot. Before I say no, I would just probably like to say that the game's changed with boxing. I mean, gone are the days you could only maybe have somebody like you said, an Anthony Joshua or a Chris Eubank. To be a pay-per-view star, there has to be a serious element of attraction to you. Jack Catterall's a good fighter, but he's not a big knockout artist. He doesn't have a huge personality in terms of he's at a press conference, he's in memorable press conferences, etc. And that's not a discredit to Jack Catterall. That's just what the general public want to see. I mean, me and you are boxing men. We want to see fights based on guys' talents, etc. But the casual fan wants to pick up a paper and see that somebody's through a chair, through a table, or they've said something really controversial. So, for that reason and the type of personality that Jack Catterall's got, I don't think he will be a pay per view star, but he'll be on some big cards.
Yeah, for sure. And it's nothing to be ashamed of not to be a pay-per-view star. It's not an easy thing to do. You need to be someone who appeals to the casual fan. You need to be a bit of a superstar. And I don't think Jack Catterall is, for whatever reason, he's not that guy yet who's going to get recognized in the street up and down, and people are maybe going to go out of their way to watch Jack Catterall fight. But we shall see. Moving back to Arnold Barboza, Greg. I know it's like it's difficult kind of having your own rankings, isn't it? Because what you're basing it on, fighters fighting, different fighters fighting all the time, and how do those change your rankings? But is Barboza is he a top 10 guy in the division for you? Is he a top five guy? He's still undefeated. He had what I'm going to call a dodgy win over Sean McComb last year.
Yeah.
He's beaten Jose Pedraza a couple of years ago. Um, I wouldn't mind saying he's maybe got a bit of a padded record for someone who's 31 and 0. And as well as that, you're in a stat you're in kind of a stacked division. Obviously, Jack Catterall's in the division. Subriel Matias is still a big threat. Richardson Hitchens, obviously now world champion. Liam Paro is around as well. Jose Ramirez, who Barboza beat in his last fight. Um, how would you I know it's tough, but how would you analyze where he is in your super lightweight rankings at the moment?
Yeah, I think I'd put him into the top 10 now after the Ramirez win, Elliot. Every fight is a bad night, and I get the Sean McComb fight that Sean McComb widely was recognised they should have won, but you've got guys like a guy that we like, Hamza Shiraz, he had a really bad night against Bradley Skeet. Sometimes these guys just look and they think, this is a fight I need to get past, I'm probably going to win, and they don't perform for whatever reason on the night. So to answer your question, Elliot, I have him top 10, top five. I'm not sure, but certainly top 10 for me. Yeah,
Yeah, we'll see. I think this is his toughest fight of his career, isn't it? And he's doing it on foreign soil, so it's going to be interesting to see how he performs against Jack Catterall. All right, it's prediction. Yes, prediction time as always, Greg. Um, I think I think this is a really interesting fight. One thing I'll add before we do our predictions is Jack Catterall. He feels like he's having to jump over hurdles to get this world title shot. And there's a part of me that's a bit worried is he's gone over really tough hurdles. Josh Taylor rematch, Regis Prograis. These weren't easy fights. And maybe this is a slighter lighter touch. And I hope he doesn't fall over now. I hope he doesn't fall over before the last hurdle and therefore doesn't finish the race, if that makes sense. So that's on my
yeah,
mind. That's one of my worries. But I'll hand over to you now. What is your prediction?
yeah. I think you make a great point. Some of these guys, Harold Graham, look at the fighters they beat, and then it just doesn't happen on the day for them. I fancy him to beat Barboza, Elliot, but I think it's going to be a hard fight. I did see Ramirez; he had Barboza in little bits of trouble at times, and I think that Catterall is a bit fresher than like a Jose Ramirez now. So I think you might need to have his thinking cap on early because I think Barboza's a good fighter. I think it can pose him problems, but I wouldn't be surprised to see Jack Catterall maybe get him out late in the second half of the fight because we've seen against Prograis he's starting to plant his feet a little bit when he throws now. Jamie Moore's always telling us he punches hard. So I think maybe a Jack Catterall late stoppage might be on the cards.
We'll have to do a betting tip show a bit closer to the time because I'm interested to see the odds on a Jack Catterall stoppage, especially in the second half of the fight. I I do think Jack Catterall's going to win this fight, but there's something that tells me this will actually won't be easy and will actually be quite close. Um, and that's just going back to my other point of Jack Catterall's kind of going through these hurdles, still not winning a world title, still not winning a world title, still not fighting for a world title. And it feels like this is the final hurdle. It's maybe an easier fight than he's had. But yeah, there's part of me thinks this will actually be a tough fight for Jack Catterall because it's not easy. It's not easy keeping going through these top level opponents, which he's doing now. It's not an easy to kind of keep on going at that level. Some fighters, i.e. Teofimo Lopez, go down a level like he did against Steve Claggett. But Jack Catterall's not doing that. You've got to respect him for it. But I'm going for Jack Catterall to win this fight on points in what will be a fairly close fight as well. All right. Really good to be joined by you as always, Greg. As I said, yeah, a really packed February, but this could be one of the real standout high quality fights. Greg, thank you very much for your time, and I'll speak to you again very soon.
Thanks, Elliot.